Hey, what's going on? It's Bill Burr, and it's time for the Monday Morning Podcast for Monday, May 4th, 2020. What's going on? How are you? May 4th, everybody. We are 11 days away from this whole thing just opening back up again. I know that's true because old Donnie Boy said it was going to happen. Donnie Boy, yada-da-da-da-da-da-da. He says it's all opening up on May 15th, which totally makes sense. Do you know what? If he reopens it and everybody gets sick, the fact that he's going to get shit for that, when I'm taking my daily walk, my old man walk, old shuffling down the street like some old fucking mob boss, who's trying to pretend he's insane. I don't have the bathrobe on, but I definitely got the mask and all of that shit, right? I go out to the grocery store. I wait my turn to go in. I got the gloves. I got the mask, right? Looking like a fucking beekeeper, right? But there's just too many selfish fucking cunts. Yesterday. Jesus Christ, it was just yesterday. I'm walking down the street. Ba-doo-ba-da-boop. I'm minding my business. And across the street, I'm assuming a husband and a wife. Life partners, I don't know what, terminal one-night standers, across the street, both pushing strollers with like a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old or something like that, right? Adorable kids, beautiful family, nobody's wearing masks, just walking down the street, I think selfish cunts like that, they're just like, well, everybody else is wearing a mask. I feel fine, so I'm fine. I'm not like the mask rule is for somebody else. So I'm just going to put this out there. As much as I don't like old Donnie Brook, and I think he's a fucking disaster, and he is a fucking disaster, and I will debate anybody who still supports anybody who can debate a guy who's running your country that suggested you shoot household cleaners into your body. You know something? I'm sick of hearing from the painters. Ooh, did I stir up a beehive with that one? And you should hear what they're talking about, how many hours they work, and they're fucking... You would think that they're actually out there fighting a war. The way they're waxing about what it's like to color in a fucking wall. I'm sorry, people. I just have to keep fucking picking on them. Not because I really give a fuck about painters. It's just that there's nothing going on in the world. Everybody's just sitting at home, and I have no guests, and I have to keep talking. So what I'm going to do, this is going to be the last day, for every 2 weeks during this, I'm going to pick a vocation, and I'm just going to shit on it. If there's a job out there... if there is a job out there that you don't like, that just bugs you. Anything from Jiffy Lube to fucking inner tubes, whatever the fuck, whitewater rafting to fucking skin grafting. Why am I rhyming? I don't know why. Whatever the fuck you want, I will shit on it. I will shit all over it. I will show the profession no fucking respect. And then I want people in the profession. We've all had time to sit at home, right? And fucking look at what we do, okay? And if you like me, you stop moving, you stop running, right? And you're just sitting at home, and what happened? It's like the tortoise and the hare. Oh, the tortoise comes over the hill, and that's all your fucking demons from your childhood, and they all catch up with you, right? And then they surround you, and then you're just sitting in them, and you're just thinking like, wow, I thought I was an adult. I thought I left all of this behind. I went to therapy. I talked it out. I never think about this shit. And it's just like, no. It was just on the other side of that hill, just waiting for you to take a fucking 3-day, 3-week, whatever fucking sabbatical. And then it's all coming back. Old Billy Freckles. And I will shit all over it. I will shit all over it because I cannot... The fucking joy I am getting from these fucking asshole painters flipping out like I really think they all suck. A lot of them do suck, though. So I tried to move on past the angry, shitty painters out there. I can't seem to do that. I'm trying to, like, how do you find a good painter? You know what I mean? There has to be, like, if you're a painter, can you tell just by, like, the guy's advertisement? Is it word of mouth? How do you get a good fucking painter? We actually had, some people who just came over and redid this couple of closets here because, one of the final things in the old ass house that I bought that I'm going to die in this house, or I'm going to sell it. I'm going to lose a ton of fucking money. I have a fucking toilet in my house that I swear to God, the only way it will flush is if you take a plunger and you go, what, like 50 fucking times, and then put one square of toilet paper. Anything beyond that, and it just fucking taps out. And I've had person after person after person come over here and try and figure it out. And somebody finally figured it out. And what happened was some fucking Dudley do-it-yourself guy came, I must have done it, and fucked it up and put the wrong size pipe. I don't know what the fuck it is. But, of course, it's on the top floor, so they're going to have to, I would have to literally leave my house or whatever the fuck it was, go live in the garage with the family while, this, who's kidding who? This 7-day job, 10-day job turns into 3 months. We all know that that's what's going to happen. So, whatever. So I'm trying to put that off last. But anyways, the painters came in. They did a great job. They didn't get a splotch of paint anyway. I know that there's some good ones out there, but you have to admit painters. Okay. And it just, don't get your fucking overalls in a bunch here. There's some really bad painters out there. I would actually say that a bad painter is almost as bad as a bad comedian. Because at least with a bad comedian, there is something funny about watching somebody who sucks at doing stand-up. If you can get outside of just the fact they're not funny, then it's funny. Just the situation. And somebody has a microphone and is holding a crowd captive for an hour, doing a job that they're not good at is fucking, and nobody can really say it. I guess you can heckle. I don't know. I think it's funny. Anyway, moving on here. Yeah, so I just keep seeing these people out there, and I'm one of those old school. I believe in rooting for the standing president, but like I said, once he said the household cleaner in your body, actually no. When he saw both sides of a neo-Nazi and people protesting neo-Nazis or whatever the fuck happened, all I know is a neo-Nazi in his Dodge fucking Challenger ran over an innocent woman and killed her. And he's like, well, there's two sides to every argument. I'm like, all right, fuck this guy. Anyways, but I know you guys think I'm a Hollywood liberal. Unless you live in a red state, then you think I'm unless you live in a blue state, then you think I'm a Trump. I don't know what the fuck it is. Or maybe I'm just reading a couple of emails and acting like everybody thinks what 5 fucking psychos think. Maybe that's what it is. I have no idea. So I was going on my walk and I went by this lovely family acting like there wasn't a pandemic. I had everything. I don't know why I didn't just yell at them. They were on the other side of the street. Like, why aren't you guys wearing masks? Do you want this to last forever? You can't do it because their kids are there, but seriously. It's just like, what are you fucking special? I'll tell you what I fucking heard. Do you know, like, when you're at the airport, right? And something's going on with your ticket. And you're standing in line and you're waiting your turn and somebody's up there and they're talking and they're talking and they're talking. You're thinking, like, how fucking long does this take, right? Because at the end of the day is you don't give a fuck about the end result of their bullshit. You just want them to get the fuck out of the way so you can go up there because you are the most important person in the universe, right? But you stood in line. As selfish as you are, you stood in line and you waited your fucking turn. And you walk up there, the band's playing, the spotlight comes on, and it's your time to sing your little song. And in the middle of your bullshit, somebody comes walking up to the counter on the side because they just have a quick question. Whenever that happens, man or woman, I had this fantasy, and I actually ended up seeing it years later in the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You know when Brad Pitt grabs that chick by the back of the hair and fucking repeatedly smashes her face on the man? That's what I want to do to the person. Oh, did you not see the line? You have to stand in the line to get up to the fucking counter, you cunt. You fucking patage. I used to see, now I just say something. I just look right at him and I go, buddy, there's a line. And you know what those cunts do? They just ignore me. And then that makes me even more angry. And it's just like, what happened to the world where this guy get the old Sunday punch right in the old fucking kazoo? Oh, shut up, Bill. You're not going to punch anybody at an airport. You're a law-abiding fucking pussy. Yes, I am. All right? Anyway, that's why I look at these fucking people with masks. Can somebody start driving around and just yelling at people who don't have masks on? Just do it in a company. Hey, it doesn't apply to you. The wearing the mask thing is for other people. My other favorite thing is the no mask person who then walks in the middle of the street. I mean, just get a fucking mask. Nah, get a bandana, tie a t-shirt on. Nah, I'm not doing that. That's inconvenient. It makes my face sweaty. But I don't want to get it, so I'm not going to walk by the other people. So instead, I'm going to walk in the middle of the fucking street and make somebody have to slow down and then decide what level they're going to push their horn. Do I go with a peep? I fucking hate myself that the other day I peeped at somebody. I should have just blasted the fucking and said, get out of the fucking road and put on a mask, you stupid cunt! You know what fucking kills me? Is all of these fucking people out here, they're sitting there and they're bitch moaning and complaining, the government isn't doing this and the government isn't doing that, right? And then you got there's like a third of the fucking people are outside walking around without fucking masks on. It's like, are you anarchists? Do you want to do you want the whole fucking thing? I don't get it. I don't get it. Whatever. Moving on. All right, let's get back to The Matrix. Did anybody watch the Jordan documentary last night? The last 2 fucking episodes? Another amazing couple of episodes. Thank God that thing came out now. Jesus Christ. I didn't know that they had footage of that scrimmage I always heard about in the Olympics, the 1992 Dream Team. I felt bad for Tony Kukoc, too. Is it Kuko? They kept calling him Kuko. I thought it was Kukoc. The whole time he fucking played in the NBA. I thought that's how they said it. Now I don't even know how to say it. I'm sitting there talking about how they shut him down. It's like, yeah, you shut him down, and then you also had another 10 of the greatest players who ever played the fucking game. He's playing for fucking Croatia. Gee, who did you decide to key in on? And I love that he came back in the next game and he scored 16 and had a good game. I thought that was cool. And I also thought that was what made European basketball players great. That was the tipping point when the Dream Team came over there and just essentially kicked everybody's ass and embarrassed them. Athletes are athletes no matter what fucking world they're in, and they want to compete with the best, and they don't want to get embarrassed. And everybody was just like, oh, that's the fucking level. And not only did they get up to that level, they ended up surpassing it in a lot of areas, becoming all-stars in the NBA. So I thought that was really cool. All of a sudden you had all these Dirk Nowitzkis, these 7-foot fucking European dudes coming in who could hit fucking 3-pointers like they were a shooting guard. I attribute all of that to the embarrassment of playing the Dream Team and how bad they kicked everybody. Who was the guy who dunked the ball and then pelvic pumped the fucking Ethiopian guy away? I actually remember when I watched the Dream Team, I thought the whole thing was embarrassing. It wasn't competition. It was like watching fucking fifth graders play tackle football against first graders and then standing over them after they knocked them down yeah, motherfucker, what? I actually didn't watch a lot of it. But the Dream Team scrimmage, when it was it was basically an all-star game where people really tried. and play defense and all of that shit. They tried on both ends of the court, right? And at one point during the game, they called a foul. I don't know if it was on Magic, but it was Jordan had the ball, and then they called a foul. And I've never seen Magic his entire career. I never saw anybody get to him. I never saw anybody make him mad. Like, I know he was like super depressed in 84 when he lost to the Celtics, but he kind of got over it when he won again in 85 and then 87 and 88. I think he got past that. But, like, to actually see him get mad and take the ball and throw it up into the upper deck, to be like, wow. Nobody in his entire career that I ever saw got him that fucking upset. I don't know. Maybe he was a little more free with his emotions because there was nobody there. I don't know what, but he took the ball and just threw it into the fucking upper deck when they called that foul. And it was just like, wow. I never saw anybody get... Hello. Hey, the lovely ladies. What's going on? Hey.
Good.
How are you?
We don't have dance class.
You're going to have dance class? Come over here. You got to come closer to the microphone. Climb up. And well, look at your cute little outfit.
I have a microphone.
You have a microphone?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do with the microphone?
You sing Old Town Road.
You sing Old Town Road? How does Old Town Road go?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do. I'm going to take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm going to...
What?
Till I can't go. There you go. Good job, buddy. I'm talking about basketball. And there's people out there in the world that paint houses, and they're very upset with me right now. At least some of them are. The ones that don't have a sense of humor.
Yeah, I've seen some of the comments.
Oh, yeah, it's fun.
You've made a powerful enemy, my friend.
I can't believe the lack of sense of humor that painters have. You know what it is? I think they're getting so mad because they know it's true on some level.
They're like, that's not me. It's those other people, and they're ruining it. And now, look, we're getting put on blast by Bill Burr.
Why don't they realize everybody gets put on blast, as you kids say? I'm joking around.
That's true.
Except for you.
No.
You don't get put on blast. You like...
Hey, I want to show you something.
What are you going to show me?
I'm going to show you my new book.
You're going to show me a new book? I'm in the middle of doing a show. You wouldn't realize it right now, but I'm technically in show business right now.
Wait, come on. We gotta do your class.
All right, bye. Bye. Yeah, all right. Okay. I just feel like there's a bunch of angry fucking painters sitting in vans right now listening to this going, someday he's going to hire me. And I'm going to do the best job ever. And I'm going to ask if he likes it. And the second he's blown away, I'm going to take out some red paint and say, fuck you, you red cunt, on the wall. I saw a really cool old Cadillac. I saw a 69 fucking Cadillac Eldorado. I mean, that's just a fucking man's car. Parked on the side of the road in need of some TLC. Original. The whole fucking car was original. It was fucking... Body was still straight. Still the original hubcaps on it. The paint just from years of sitting in the sun was pretty faded, and it needed a new top and all of that. But Jesus Christ, is that a fucking beautiful car? Someday. That's going to be my retirement car. I'm going to get one of those fuckers. Drive around and be like, hey, I used to do things in this business, and then I made fun of painters, and it all came crumbling down. Still been watching the old NFL games, trying to figure out what happened before a Super Bowl. I was watching the Browns at the Bears. I got to look this guy up again. I have to give this guy a proper shout out. Let's see here. They had a running back. The Bears did. Where the fuck is it? Number 44, Cleveland Browns. What was this guy's name? And I was like, man, he's playing incredible, right? Come on. Where is he? 1969. That was his number, right? Yeah, number 44. Cleveland Brown roster. 44. Leroy Kelly. The guy, like, I looked this guy up. I'm like, man, I never heard of this guy. And listen to this. I got to make sure I get his whole thing down. So there's actually people talking like this guy should be in the Hall of Fame. He had 7,274 yards back when you had to earn it. He was an NFL champion in 1964. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler between 66 and 71. He made it 6 years in a row. 3-time first team All Pro. He won the Burt Bell Award, which we all know he was the commissioner, I believe, before Pete Rozelle. And they had the Burt Bell Bowl, which was the playoff bowl for third place in the NFL, which we all know happened from 1960 to 1969 now. 7,274 yards, averaged 4.2 yards per carry, had 74 touchdowns. I feel like in order to get into the Hall of Fame, he needed to get up until like 9,000 and closer to 100 touchdowns. It seems to be how it was. But like Leroy Kelly, learn your old NFL players pre-Super Bowl, even though he played after the Super Bowl era, but he was also on the Browns, and they were just in a bad way in the 70s. I mean, the Browns were just they were fucking amazing 40s, 50s, 60s. They shit the bed in the 70s, came back with the cardiac kids in the 80s. It all went to hell. Art Modell left. We all know the deal. 95. Cleveland smartly retained the ownership of the name the Browns. And they're the only franchise that's had a perfect season and then had a 0-16 season. They went like 14-0 one year in like the late 40s when they were still in the All-American Football Conference and or Football League, whatever the fuck they called it, before they joined the NFL. And then they went 0-16 a few years ago. I've always liked the Browns. I had family back east. I had family out there, so I had relatives in Cleveland and Detroit. So I always had, that's how I became a University of Michigan fan. That's how, I always kind of liked the Tigers, the Lions, and let's see here. Who else? I guess the Red Wings too. I actually found out one of my relatives, he was like, yeah, I used to go to Red Wing games. I'm like, when? He goes, in the 1950s. I'm like, you saw Gordie Howe? He's like, oh yeah. And it's just like, well, you went to a number of games, so I imagine that you probably saw them play the Canadians. There was only 5 other teams, so you basically saw everybody. Oh yeah, I was there at the inception. You know what's hilarious? If I fucking went back in time in a time machine, that's what I would do. Where Tom Cruise would go back and try and kill Hitler, I would go back and try to get a ticket to the fucking Colts versus the Giants in 1958, the greatest game ever. Was it 58 or 59, something like that? I would go to that. I'd try to go to the game where fucking Willie Mays caught the ball over his shoulder. And then just to see people, like, what their reaction was in real time. You never know in real time how great something is. Is something like, is it something when it's great, people continue to talk about it, and then like the legend starts to like blur, like the myth starts to blur what actually even happened. Like there's so many plays that I remember now going back, and I remember this play, and it was just like, it's way bigger in my head. A catch, a run, a hit, or something like that. It's way bigger in my head, and then I go back and watch it and be like, oh, that was, it's still not a standard play, but it's way more standard than I had remembered in my head. Which is true with a lot of your childhood stuff. It's bigger in your head than what it actually was. It's just that you were a kid when it happened to you, so what was happening was your whole world. And then as you get older and your world expands, you realize it wasn't that big a deal, hopefully. unless you never talk about it, then it's just sitting there in your head and it's as big as a fucking mountain. Bill, enough about you and your fucked up bullshit. Anyways, this is the last week I'm going to make fun of painters. I'm just going to read their fucking things. I know it's a fucking cool job. That's not a cool job. It's a fucking hard job. And I know that there's very few people that are really good at it and actually take the fucking time to do it right. I mean, you can say that about anything. You can say that about comedians, mechanics, Isaiah Thomas. That poor bastard. The competitiveness of him is what made him go in that documentary. It's like, why would you, Isaiah Thomas, knowing Michael Jordan fucking hates you and thinks you're an asshole, and he has final cut on a documentary, why would you go in there? You should have been like your boy, Bill Lambier. I bet they asked him. He's like, I'm not fucking doing it. And he has final cut? Fuck you, I'm not doing it. I got to be honest with you. As much as a Celtics fan, I hated Bill Lambier, I fucking love that when they came at him, they said, hey, all these years later, do you regret not shaking the Bulls' hands? He goes, no, fuck them. Fuck them. When we won it, they said we weren't real champions. Oh, here's another reason why fucking, why Larry probably didn't shake your hand after the thing. Not because he was a sore loser, which is always an option. Maybe he didn't shake your hand because you went publicly and said if he wasn't white, if he was a black player, he'd just be another player. There was no reason to say that. You went ahead and you fucking said that, right? And out of all of this shit, I just think it's fucking hilarious how much it seems nobody likes Isaiah Thomas. But the thing about him is you listen to him in the interviews and he's smiling. And he always just had that great smile that just made him seem like really approachable and this great guy. And then now you listen to all these guys like, oh, wait, this guy's like a used car salesman. He's charming the fucking basketball shorts off of me while he sells me a fucking Range Rover. Sorry, I had a buddy of mine who used to work on fucking lemon laws, and he told me, he goes, dude, those, because I asked him, oh, you do lemon laws? And I go, what car right now? What is the car you don't want? He goes, Range Rovers. All the fucking time. Now, granted, this was like 10 years ago. I'm not saying they're not making them right now, because I got to be honest with you. I always loved that fucking vehicle. But I liked them more back when they were like for lunatic white people with like childhood issues. So they had to go to Africa and shoot a rhinoceros, just to stay ahead of their own demons. It's so fucking dumb. It's like, dude, isn't it enough that you have a fucking gun? You also have to get in a fucking SUV and drive all through the fucking jungle in a goddamn tank. Fucking rhinos, like, what the fuck is that? It already doesn't know what you are. And then you go out there and from like 100 yards away, 100 yards is actually impressive. I don't know, whatever, how far away you are. You just fucking shoot this goddamn fucking... I mean, what is a rhino? It's a fucking roided up cow. It's a small dinosaur. I don't know what it is. I do think it's hilarious that people think if you take the horn and somehow like put it in your fucking tea in the morning, it's going to make your dick harder. And there's still people doing that. It's like, we have medicine for that. Just get some Viagra and leave the fucking thing alone, you cunt. Right? I don't know. Anyway, let's get to the... if you've listened to this podcast long enough, you guys would realize that I have all the solutions for the world's problems and none for myself. Policy Genius, everybody. I think I have to fucking remind people to not take this fucking podcast so goddamn seriously. Or maybe that's the fun of it, that people actually do it. This is how bad my eyes are getting. I wrote cool old caddy as far as something to talk about. I have my little topics here. Michael Jordan, parents no mask, cool old caddy. And I just read that as cool out caddy. Like I'm at a golf course and there's some caddy at the golf course acting like an asshole. I had that job. I told you that. I had that job at a country club. I hated that job only because I was a redhead. But other than that, that was one of my favorite fucking jobs I ever had. And I loved all of the, like, I just thought the members at a country club, I thought it was the coolest fucking thing ever. I could give a fuck about golf, but I just loved the ball breaking that they did with each other. I liked that they fucking, I used to like watching guys fuck with other guys. I remember one time I was caddying with this guy, and there was this other guy who was a better golfer. They were both good golfers, but one guy was just cool as a cucumber, and that was the guy I was caddying for. And the other guy was fucking wound up like me. And they weren't even playing for money. At least they didn't say it out in front to us, right? And I remember, like, he got in this guy's fucking head, and the last fucking thing he did, even I was just like, Jesus Christ. I was getting uncomfortable. I thought there was going to be a fight. This fucking sweaty, wound up guy, right? And it was funny because the other guy was older and he was in great shape. He was really slim, barely sweated the whole fucking time. And he was just out there just fucking, he knew, like, you know, the thing that fascinates me about golf is that whole thing that you get in your own fucking head and then all of a sudden you can't fucking do it anymore. And the frustration of it. I actually, you know, all these years of making fun of golf, I now have a tremendous respect for it. Basically, because one time I did a benefit and there was pro athletes there, and all of them said that those guys are the best fucking athletes out there. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? You played hockey. You got to like really learn how to run and walk. And he goes, it's not the same thing. He goes, man, I would just go out there on the ice. I was just reacting. I didn't have, the game is so fast, you don't have time to think. He goes, with golf, you got all of that fucking time walking up to the fucking ball, people watching you, and you got all, this is a professional athlete said that. And as he was saying that there was two other pro athletes, different sports, nodding their head. And I had to sit there and take a hard look at my gym class recreational career and be like, you know, I think these guys achieved a little more in the phys ed world. I'm going to have to go with these guys. And they were just saying how difficult the game was. The thing is, I never gave a fuck about it. And I always thought that hooking and slicing was fucking hilarious. And I would always, whenever I played, I would go out and I would have at least fucking 12 just shitty golf balls in my bag. And it's just like, you want to look for that? I ain't fucking walking in there looking for it. And another thing too is I would count every fucking, that's a gimme. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. That's the thing that I fucking hated about golf was the amount of fucking cheating. That's a breakfast ball. No, it isn't. That's not a breakfast ball. I already had my breakfast. Okay, I had a nice nutritional breakfast, and I got up here and I hit the fucking ball, and it's on it's two fucking fairways away. I hit that. I'm going to take the penalty. How the fuck am I going to know where my game is at if every time I'm out here I'm getting graded on a fucking curve? That's what I don't like about golf at the country club level. But like when you what I like about it at the pro level is there's no breakfast ball. Although I will say, watching somebody with a lead in one of the majors completely fucking unravel. I don't know what to compare it to in sports. How long it takes, how bad it is. It's like watching somebody miss a kick to win a fucking championship, a field goal, to win a championship over and over and over again. So anyway, I'm caddying. Yeah, I'm talking about back when I was a caddy.
You were a caddy?
I was a caddy.
Oh, you told me that.
Oh yeah. The big thing is if you did doubles. If you had doubles, then they would pay you like $10 a round, $15 for like fucking 18 holes.
What is a caddy? Do you fetch the clubs? Did
you just say fetch?
I mean, you're a caddy. Like, is that not what you do?
I'm not gonna lie. You literally went and fetched their clubs. Yeah. There was people in the clubhouse that washed their clubs. Uh-huh. And you know what was funny about that? You could always tell. You could tell the self-made men versus the people that were born into wealth. Mm-hmm. Because the self-made men always hung out, talked to you, always made sure that they tipped you well. And the fucking rich people, they were always like their whole life they had like people, I don't know, servants or whatever.
Right.
And they would come in and they would hand you the clubs, and they would not break conversation with the other person.
Right, yeah.
Talking about their game or their business or some movie, and it was like you weren't there. And the best was if there was a rich guy with the self-made man, and he would see that, and then the rich guy would see how the other guy behaved, and then he tried to, I really appreciate it. So anyway, and he just keep walking.
Did they tip you decent?
No, they were tight fucks. Generally speaking, they were tight fucks unless you had there was a few cool guys, but there was a lot of tight fucks. Yeah, and they had reputations too.
This doesn't sound like any kind of culture.
Huh?
This doesn't sound like any kind of culture you'd want to be around. Like just old rich.
Neil, if you can just divorce yourself from the way country clubs have treated your people, it's actually. I love how you subtly. This doesn't seem like a cult. Get over here.
I can't. I gotta go.
Everybody knows what you were just doing there.
I gotta go back in there with her, so to make sure she's okay during her dance class, even though she doesn't really need me. She's kind of.
Can I tell you something about country clubs? As far as being a guy, it's one of the greatest things you can ever join. It's so much fun, and it beyond the golf.
A country club is one of the greatest things you could ever join as a guy.
Yeah. Once you get married and you have no free time and all your shit's in the garage, when you fucking go down to the country club, I'm telling you, we have a buddy of ours, country club. I went down to his country club, didn't even play golf. Not that I give a fuck about golf. I hung out and just had a fucking rib tips fucking sandwich and a couple of drinks. No, I didn't have a drink. I had a cigar. It was the best fuck. All they did was just fucking break each other's balls. You know, they always act like there's a bunch of white guys in there like carving up the country. And I'm going to take Tennessee, see? And you're going to have fucking Wyoming. It wasn't. It was just a bunch and I mean this in a nice way, a bunch of fucking idiots. Just a bunch of knuckleheads breaking ball. Fucking Frank's going to tell a story. This is going to take 20 minutes or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Just, I don't know. That was a bad example of breaking balls, but I understand. You're not open to it. No, I understand. I understand.
No,
Sorry. No, I get it. I understand what you're saying.
No. I understand. Easy. I understand.
Hey, and I understand. So anyway, I'm caddying for this guy, and it's a foursome. So I guess they're playing 2 against 2. I don't know. I was always like, you handed them the club, and then you fucking ran down to go spot the ball, or you were moving on to the next hole. So I don't know what the dynamic was going. So all I could tell was that the pudgy, sweaty dude, who was a really good golfer, and I actually think was every bit, if not better, than the guy I was caddying for. But the guy I was with, he was the guy that was leaving with the girl, right? He was the hero of the movie, all right? And this other guy was the guy who had to work like twice as hard. And half of it was because he was in his own way, right? So we got up to, what fucking hole was it? I think it was 17. Yeah, it was 17. And we're on the green. And at this point, the pudgy guy, he has man tit sweat under his man boobs. He's got like he has armpit stains, but they're underneath his man boobs. And he had a striped shirt, and it was like, it was the 80s, so it was like, it fit. So he's got his spare tire over his slacks, and he had all the gear. Oh, wait, no. He chipped in on the 17. He chipped in out of the trap, and it went in the fucking hole. He was a really good golfer. But anyway, I forget what fucking hole it was. So he lines up a putt. All right. And my guy is closer to the hole, so he's waiting. Okay. So this guy is a right-handed golfer. So he's sitting there and he lines up the putt. And okay. And we're not behind him. We're on the side where he can see us. Just standing there, being quiet, being respectful. The second he hit the ball and he's watching it roll towards the hole, the guy I was caddying for starts walking over to his ball. And before this guy can see whether it goes in the hole or not, this guy crossed in front of him. It's just like, I was right there. I was like, there's going to be a fight. And he literally dropped his putter and looked at me like, do you fucking believe this guy? And I walked by him like Isaiah walking by Jordan, where he kind of ducked it. I didn't know what to do. But I don't know what it was. I found it fucking hilarious how upset he got. But now, all these years later, looking back at it, it's like, dude, you should have fucking said something to that guy. Anyway, there's my little golf story. Let me read some fucking advertising here before I get before I get destroyed by the painters. And then I'm going to, just to let you know, I'll do a little teaser here, like old time radio. Fuck you, you redheaded do-nothing cunt. I have to start trashing more fucking vocations. All right. But I always come around. I've been trashing golf for years, and now granted, it took three professional athletes at the same time to say how great a game it was, how hard it was. But that is one thing about me. Okay, you can call me a bald, redheaded, do-nothing cunt all you want, but I can be swayed. I am not going to sit here and just be stubborn and continue to say that painters are on the lowest rung of the learning a trade. It's like you didn't know how to build anything. You couldn't get in the wall. I love how plumbers had a sense of humor, that I said they grew up in single-parent families and they didn't have enough food, and they used to go underneath the sink to try and find some scraps, bread, or whatever the fuck I said. I didn't get one fucking email from a plumber. These painters, man, they're a sensitive fucking crew. I think it's because they dress like nurses. You know, they come in dressed all in white. If anything I'm getting out of this, I'm getting more fans in the plumbing and carpentry vocation. I have gotten a couple of those emails. Keep trashing those fucking guys. All right, Policy Genius. There was never a bad time to save money, but now more than ever, finding smart ways to put some cash back in your pocket can make a big difference. One way to do that is to simply save on things you're already paying for, like home insurance. If you own a home, reshopping your home insurance rates with Policy Genius could save you a good chunk of change, and the best part is you barely need to lift a finger to do it. Motivate your audience. Okay, now that offends me. Like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing here. The first thing I have to do is I have to get them to listen to the copy. That's what I need to do first, all right? You'd know that if you really were a genius. Policy Genius. First, head to policygenius.com and answer a few quick questions about yourself and your property. Then Policy Genius will compare your policy against options from top insurers to make sure you're getting the right home insurance coverage at the best possible price. If Policy Genius finds you a better rate than what you're currently paying, they'll do all the work to get you switched. I mean, come on, man. You don't have to do anything. That's perfect. Own a car too? Policy Genius will compare your home and auto policies across different insurers and even mix and match to find you savings. They save their customers an average of $1,127 per year just doing that. Call to action, parentheses, this section is mandatory. Hey, if you write it, I read it, buddy. So, or lady. So if you'd like to put a little cash back in your pocket right now, see how much you can save. So if you'd like to put a little cash back in your pocket right now, see how much you can save by reshopping your home insurance rates at policygenius.com. I don't like how there's no sort of podcast code there. How will they know that I sent them there? Geez, there. All right. Helix. Okay, here is my Helix ad. Hello, I'm Bill Burr. I'm a really unique... Oh, they're still doing this fucking copy. I am not a really unique guy. That is not why you like my podcast. You like my podcast because you listen to me fucking blow a gasket and then it makes you feel better about yourself and your own shortcomings? I don't know. Anyways, Helix is truly one of a kind, I guess. Next, please mention all the talking points below. As I've said before, advertisers, if you write it, I will read it. Helix Sleep built a sleep quiz that takes 2 minutes to complete. They use the answers to match your body type and sleep preference to the perfect mattress for you. If you like a mattress that's really soft or firm, you sleep on your side or your back or your stomach, or you sleep really hot. Gross! With Helix, there's a specific mattress for each and everybody's unique taste, like you. Just go to helixsleep.com/burr, B-U-R-R, take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. It says like me after that. I think there's a joke there. I don't know. Helix Sleep was even awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2019 by GQ and Wired magazine. They have a 10-year warranty. 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They'll even pick it up if you don't like it. Gross! I bet people are all wearing masks when that goes down. Anyways, right now, Helix is offering up to $200 off mattress orders for our listeners. Get up to $200 at helix.com/burr prop. Okay, /burr. That's all right. Woo! Look at you, Nene. Looking good there, sweetheart.
Oh, thank you.
All right, there you go. I have to double check that is all the advertising for this week before I get absolutely raked over the proverbial coals by all of these fucking irate painters. I mean, they are so irate. I am surprised that no other websites have picked up on how this controversy. All right, prop painter from The Mandalorian. I did an episode of that last season. Hey there, Bill. My day job as a prop painter for movies and TV. That's my day job. Well, congratulations. That's a cool job. I mainly specialize in weapons. I've worked on a bunch of stuff you may recognize from Avengers, Better Call Saul, Westworld. These are all my Avengers I don't watch. I watch everything else. And a lot of the weapons and droids for The Mandalorian. You might be a little stoked to know I've made a lot of these things while listening to the Monday Morning Podcast. As lucky as I have been to find my way into having the honor to paint some really cool stuff, I started out my painting career painting houses in my college years. I can't argue with you that a majority of house painters suck. Thank you. Validation. Validation. If you can compare it to something like cooking, painting houses is like starting your cooking career at a Denny's. If you haven't moved on to a better restaurant after a few years, then you're probably not going to do it for the love of it or as a career choice. If you haven't moved on to industrial painting, cars, murals, or entertainment, then you're just doing it for the money, and you're most likely just trying to bang jobs out, and you're not so much caring about the artistry while painting another four walls some off-white color. All right, that makes sense. So basically painting houses is sort of the open mic of painting. And then you move on to more difficult stuff to paint, right? I'm joking because I know that there's the Richard Pryor's and George Carlins of house painters. I'm fucking joking, people. Relax. All right. And by the way, is there anything cooler than someone who paints cars? All right. I think that's fucking amazing. And actually, come on. Some of the graffiti that the people who suck at painting paint over. You know what I mean? Do you ever have guilt? People who just paint walls when you paint over graffiti. Do you ever stand back and be like, wow, this vandal is actually better at what they do than I am? As your paint drips down onto these poor plants underneath the graffiti. In defense of painters, they can't hide their shitty work the way a plumber can. Like whoever did my old ass fucking house. They can't hide their, I had a guy coming over looking at the hot water heater the other day, and I have one, I don't know anything about plumbing, but the where the water goes in, the pipe will just say is 3/4 inches, and where it comes out, it's like 1/4 inch. And the guy before even ever had to open a wall, he goes, well, I don't know who did that, but that is not up to code. And he, as a plumber, was saying that, most plumbers don't take the time to do it right. So I think in general, we listen, here's the deal. I mean, if you guys fucking shit on comedians, I'll laugh about it all fucking day long. I love it. Comics shit on other comics. I don't give a fuck. I didn't realize how precious the art of painting was. A house, how sensitive people are until this guy here. Fuck you, you redheaded do-nothing cunt. By the way, you forgot the hyphen between do and nothing. Just the way you missed that corner when you painted the house, you sloppy cunt. All right, stop bashing my fucking career. This guy really comes with soccer mom energy. I'm working 75-hour weeks to get my wife and kid through this pandemic that has your pussy ass stuck at home. Look at this fucking guy. He paints a house and all of a sudden he thinks he can throw hands. Oh, you're a tough guy, huh? Walking around with your Oshkosh bagosh overalls? Let me ask you this. On your painter boots, did you write right and left so you'd put them on correctly? I'm coming right back at you, buddy. As you're fucking whining about your fucking work week. Just because you people hire idiots doesn't make all painters bad. This point has already been made. Stop hiring dumbass, you fucking morons. I agree with that. Take your mic out of your ass, hilarious, and learn how to vet a contractor, you bald twat. Once again, body shaming me. I liked your podcast until last week. You fucking pussy! You're going to take your paintbrushes and go home? You're going to go out and go cry in your van? Hey, good luck to you, buddy. All the fucking people that I have shit on in this podcast, all of these fucking people I've shit on, and you've had no fucking problem with it whatsoever. And all of a sudden, I come around to you and your little pedophile fucking van with your splotch of fucking paint and your fucking nice head of hair, right? And all of a sudden, now you're going to leave? Well, go ahead and fucking leave. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to help you leave here. I'm going to find a painting podcast house that you can listen to so you can feel like it's a safe space. House painting podcast. Here we go. I'm going to give you the first one. Podcast, America's number one. No, what the fuck is it? Oh my God, this is just a wide open market. Podcast for painters, Paint Talk 2016. What do we got here? Podcast for painters. Why listen to a podcast? Finding podcasts. Podcast for painters. Painting and Decorating Contractors of America. Paint Ed. You might want to listen to that one because ED is like education. Contractor SEO Pro Construction Guide. There you go, buddy. There you go. Happy trails. You fucking soccer mom. You look at you fucking getting your goddamn fucking painter panties in a bunch, thinking that I'm giving a fuck that you're walking away. With your soggy fucking painter socks sloshing around your Red Wing boots. All right. I work harder and deal with more shit than you could ever imagine. All right, time out. What do you know about my life? You don't even think you think that working 75 hours a week is impressive to me. Buddy, just to remind you, I do 2 podcasts a week myself. All right? I then do another one with Bert Kreischer. I also run a podcast network. And within the podcast network, I produce stand-up specials and TV shows. And to do those, I have to go around town pitching those things. All right? That's just one little aspect. Then I also write, produce, and act on an animated show called F is for Family. Okay? I got to put out 10 episodes. Do you know how long it takes to make 10 episodes of an animated show? It takes about 10 and a half months. And then it comes out, and then you go right back to do it all over again. All right? I also just finished a fucking movie script that I've been working on for 2 fucking years. I'm also a stand-up comedian and put out a stand-up special every 2 fucking years. So fuck you and your 75-hour work week. Go fuck yourself. I want you to go do your 75-hour work week in front of a bunch of white chicks that are looking for you to say one wrong thing at your job and then end your career and cancel you. So go fuck yourself. 75-hour fucking work week, coloring in fucking walls. Go fuck yourself. I am so sick of fucking people thinking that they have the hardest fucking job. And, do you paint houses in the United States of America? You know what I want you to do right now, sir? I want you to look down and look at that spare tire hanging over your fucking belt and realize that 90% of the world will never eat as much food in their life than you eat in 10 fucking years. So fuck you. Jesus, I am so fucking sick. Isn't it fucking hilarious how all of these fucking people, oh Jesus, this is my dog. Hey, sweetheart, how are you?
Where's my man?
What's that?
Where's the man?
Can you close the door and don't listen to Dad say the bad words? Hey, sweetheart, close the door. Hey, close the door, buddy. Thank you. Yeah. You're working 75 hours a week. Oh, good for fucking you. Could get my wife and kid through this pandemic. Oh, what a fucking hero. We're all fucking working. Everybody's working. How many hours of work is a doctor working? Take a fucking joke, you fucking... fuck this guy. All right. He works harder. He has no idea. Like, he thinks I'm just sitting by a fucking pool writing knock-knock jokes. Windows get painted by the fucking homeowners and idiot nephews when you were too cheap to hire a real contractor. I run a business, play drums and sing for a band and still have time to take care of my family without complaining about shit that I don't have any idea about. Time out. You just fucking was shitting all over the entertainment business saying that I don't do anything. Go fuck yourself and then do it again, you red fuzzy fuckers. It's plural for some reason. Maybe he was just joking. I don't know. This is another thing, everybody. I am fucking over listening to how hard people fucking work. Let me ask you guys a question. How annoying was it when I just told you how hard I work? And I didn't even tell you how many hours. I told you how many months. How annoying was that? Okay, just know that when you do that, you sound just as fucking annoying. Oh my God, I have to bust my ass every week to take care of my family. Who doesn't? You know? Let me ask you this, painter. You tell me you tell me what in your fucking career. What is the showtime at the Apollo, surviving that, of being a fucking house painter? Go fuck yourself. These fucking, this is my thing about all of this shit. This is for all of you out there who are going to be successful in life. Know this, that no one is going to help you. You're going to be all alone. All right. If it involves going on the road, you're going to intimately know Motel 6, Super 8, and those are like above the No Country for Old Men motels that you're going to stay in. All right. And you're going to do whatever it takes to get there. And you're going to do the equivalent of standing in a cafeteria of college kids in the middle of the day who had no idea there was going to be a show. And you're going to stand up there and fucking humiliate yourself. And there's going to be nobody there to help you. Okay? And if your dream doesn't come true, nobody's going to give a shit. All right? But if it does come true, then what's going to happen is everybody's going to act like it was given to you and you didn't work for it, and your life is just putting your feet up and sitting courtside and fucking playing grab ass with people. This is what I've learned about super successful people. Most of them have pools, and very rarely are they in them. The geniuses in the world somehow have that balance of money and free time. What I find with most people that become really successful is what suffers is their personal life, which ends up being the most important thing. And a lot of times they lose everything that they have. And then they just have this fucking thing that they built. So I'm off this whole fucking painter stupid shit. I know that guy was probably just fucking around anyways, but like that is the thing. Like there's a few people in this business that I really admire that figured out how to do it. The first two that I think is Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan. They figured out how to be super successful and also still like have their life is still theirs. Where with this business that I'm in, you spend your whole fucking time trying to get in, driving by the studios. It's right there, and there's this giant wall, and you're trying to do, do I go through the gate? Do I climb over? Do I tunnel under? How the fuck? And then you get in there, and what you thought it was going to be and what the fuck it really is, like, this is what I've learned in my business, is writers, editors, and directors. Like, my job as the performer is way fucking easier than that. I've done writing on F is for Family, and I just wrote a fucking script. That shit is a fucking nightmare. Fucking nightmare. It's not physically demanding, but you come out of there, my problem with booze came out of sitting in a writer's room after 2.5 seasons of F is for Family. I would come home fried, and I would just start boozing. That was my solution to it. I don't know. This probably all just sounds like, this is all fucking easy and blah, 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 writing a script that would be fun. I'll tell you this, that's what I thought. And I have a ridiculous amount of respect for writers and editors. Going to sit there and go through your 58 fucking takes of each setup, trying to figure out what's the best one that then matches the other person's in the scene. 58 takes. Forget about the dinner scene when there's fucking 10 fucking actors there. You can fucking have that job. I would go back to fucking warehousing before I would fucking sit and even attempt the mental energy it takes to fucking do that shit. So, all right. So that's the end of the painter shit. I was just breaking balls. So you guys pick another fucking job. I'm going to shit all over it. And then hopefully somebody else is going to get their panties in a fucking bunch and take that shit seriously. Like this guy here, he goes, Netflix money rant. Dear Bill, fuck you, you fucking cunt burr. Please don't ever refer to yourself as a political lefty again. Why? Because you said so? In your tirade against the painter that mentioned your Netflix money. Now, here's the great thing here. Okay? I never talked about the painter's money. Okay? You don't talk about another man's money. You just don't do that. Okay? He crossed that fucking line. But here's the deal. Because I'm making more than the average fucking painter, all of a sudden it becomes a tirade and I'm the bad guy, right? He said, you said I earned every fucking dime and I've ever earned in this business. Yeah, that is the truth. My ship came in and go fuck yourself. I have Netflix money and I'm not giving you a drop of it. Yeah. And that did not exist in a vacuum. That guy brought that out of me, and you're going to ignore all that. So here we go. Yes, you worked hard for it. Oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me what I already know. And you earned it. And I'm in complete agreement with your off-the-rails, unhinged, bald-headed rant. It wasn't off the rails. It was totally warranted. But damn, you sounded like a Republican to me. Oh, all right. Now, from here on out, this has nothing to do with me. This has to do with what goes on in between this guy's ears. Listen to this ridiculous comparison. You berate the, air quote, greedy bankers. Evidently, they're not greedy. And corporations constantly. Who are the bankers? People like you and me. Who are the corporations? People like you and me. They're not like me. I don't know what you do. Okay, I don't go out and fucking, inflate the economy and then take everybody's fucking retirement away telling my jokes. What I do on stage does not make a fucking World War II veteran spend the last 2 years of his life eating fucking dog food because they can't afford. What I do does not make people upside down in their fucking house and take their American dream away from them. The fuck are you talking about? I don't pollute the water supply. I don't create a nationwide drug epidemic by inventing synthetic heroin. Is that what you're suggesting? He goes, why don't you berate the 8 out of 10 Americans that live paycheck to paycheck because they have the newest iPhone, their Disney Pass, their booze cruise vacations, their new car, etc.? I have. I've actually done that during this pandemic where I've said that now that you see that the government can't fucking help you, please tell me that you're going to save fucking money. You have to save fucking money because at the end of the day, nobody's going to help you. You're on your fucking own. I have talked about that. Anyways, their new car, etc. How about berating people that constantly live above their means, max out their credit cards? This is shit I've talked about for years on the podcast, sir. Default on their payments and on and on and on. So basically, you don't give a shit that this guy questioned the money that I've made after I took this ridiculous chance that 90% of people end up just being fucking, out of the business and become like a fucking substitute teacher in their 40s. All right? Fuck all of that. None of that shit counts. This guy brought up my money, which I would never bring up anybody's fucking money. What the fuck you making, right? Unless you're a greedy banker cunt, because then you're affecting everybody else's dream. I don't know, dude. I don't know what your point is here. I think you're just mad that you feel that I didn't yell at the people that you wanted to yell at. So I think you should start your own podcast there. The banks aren't making anyone max out their credit cards, and Apple isn't making anyone buy their iPhone. Wait a second. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. By having the upgrades fill up your fucking phone, that they then go in and take your phone and fucking take all your shit out, and then they go and resell it again in Southeast Asia or whatever. You're completely ignoring that all of the design obsolescence of everything that you fucking buy, and that they make it cheaper to buy something newer rather than have it fucking repaired, which destroyed the repairman business and has the fucking ocean filled with old flat screen, out of date fucking TVs. You're painting a very broad brush here, sir. You actually sound more Republican, I would say, whatever the fuck that means. Anyways, if people don't want to buy it, wait a second. But like the people that you fat shame, they have no discipline with food. If people want it, they buy it. Screw the financial consequences. Then cry, I can't pay my rent 2 days into a shutdown. All right, well, you're painting with a broad brush here, which is what I did with the painters. No pun intended, fucking around. I agree with a lot of that. And I think if you're in the middle class, that you need to do what, like saving money is a lost art. And I agree with all of that. But someone who is born into fucking poverty, and you're ignoring racism, sexism, homophobia, all these other social fucking issues that can cause someone to get. So I don't agree with that. So there's my lefty side, buddy. This podcast isn't fun anymore, dude. Come on, we're just supposed to be fucking around here. Even now I feel like I got to sit here and defend what it is that I'm fucking doing here. No, here's the thing. I don't fucking talk about somebody's money, and I don't begrudge somebody if they made their dream come true. And I was joking about that when I was watching everybody getting mad at these celebrities that were doing Zoom things, and everybody was getting all into their feelings about their fucking giant kitchens. Acting as though that if that actor or movie star or whatever, if their dream didn't come true, that they would have come to their rescue and helped them out, which you wouldn't have. So I don't know what the fucking problem is. All right, Jesus Christ. Like, this is not fun anymore, guys. You know what? Fuck this. I'm not going to make fun of vocations. If this is what it brings out of people, I don't want to have a podcast like this. I just like saying stupid shit. All right, Biden. Bill, I think it's crazy that you tapped out of the news with all this Biden shit. Yeah, what's going on with this stuff? Like, there's something that they're saying he needs to address. Listening to all the Me Too people throw this woman, Tara Reid, under the bus because her story isn't believable. Oh, somebody told me about this. Tara Reid said Joe Biden did something, but because Joe Biden is on the left, and let's, who's kidding who? Tara Reid doesn't actually have like has a very volatile reputation, put it that way. They are not listening to her. Yeah, that is fucked up. They believed in women who accused, I don't know what that, I think that's the judge guy, because they didn't want a Republican on the Supreme Court. I don't think that's 100% of women, but I think that's 100% of the ones that are listened to. I think that there's definitely a double standard when it comes to that. Tara Reid's mom called in Larry King in the early 90s trying to get traction because authorities refused to take action when reported 30 years ago. It's so transparent, but for some reason people are playing dumb so hard. What do you mean people are playing dumb so hard? There's people that still think Donald Trump should be reelected. And he said to shoot fucking Drano basically into your body. This is what people do. Politics is just like sports. Your team cheats, but my team doesn't. That's pass interference, and then when we do it, that's a good no call. People do that with Me Too, and they do it with politics, unfortunately. Selfishly, I like that they're doing it because it exposes the fact that when it really comes down to it, they're into their own whatever the fuck it is they want. This is the most serious podcast I've ever had, and I don't like it. I don't like talking about this shit. Anyways, it's so transparent, but for some reason people are playing dumb so hard. Progressives went after Joe Rogan for dumb shit harder than a presidential candidate who's the face of everything they've hated. Yeah, that's when Rogan said that he was going to, he supported Bernie Sanders. Biden gropes chicks. All right, well, that's still alleged. It has to be proven. He was a huge part of the crime bill in the 90s that imprisoned hundreds of thousands of black men and classified them as super predators. And he has a consistent record of voting for wars and staying in line with the Democratic establishment. Mind-blowing stuff, Bill. Is any of that, anything that you wrote there, surprising? All right? The fact that Biden has let's just talk about the history of voting for wars and staying in line with the Democratic establishment. That, more than anything, is the reason why Hillary lost and Trump won. All the theories out there. I think this is my own bullshit, and I don't follow this stuff, but I really believe that the 2008 banking crisis and the fact that the bankers didn't go to jail, the government bailed out the banks, and who's kidding who? We now have to, people who are upside down in the house had to help bail them out after they got fucked over. And none of them went to jail. I think that Hillary came along and was a fucking company person, was going to toe the company line, and that was not what people wanted. And Trump was saying what people wanted to hear. I'm going to drain the swamp, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and all of this shit. And that's what they were looking for, and they should have put Bernie Sanders. It was like a prize fight. It was just like it wasn't a good matchup. A better matchup was another guy saying, I'm going to, basically his way of saying I was going to drain the swamp on the left. And you have them go at it, which I still believe that the best matchup, if you want Trump out of there, is you put the left version of him. So then it's like, all right, this is going to be a good fight. I think the Democrats, once again, for some reason, are going with the company man. And I think I definitely think that is a fucking error. But and this is why I usually end up voting. I should say always. I mean, since way back. When was the last time I voted for an actual Democrat or Republican for president? I think in 96, I actually voted for Bill Clinton. And if I could go back, I wouldn't have. Because he was the guy that signed the last thing for deregulating banks, as far as I know, that opened up what the fuck ended up coming to fruition in 2008. which of course George W. got blamed for because it happened while he was president, which wasn't fair. And that was basically that thing that somehow made people not qualified for houses qualified. And then you went from 5 people bidding on a house to 10 people. And then they artificially inflated the house because the market, it's basically a supply and demand. And when you make way more people eligible for these loans, the demand goes through the roof. So then the price of the house goes up high. And then eventually those people who can't afford the house, it was like they just used them as warm bodies in these houses. And then something like these loans that they gave them they could afford the house for like a year, and then all of a sudden they couldn't because then the payment jumped up. And then they had to sell, and they kicked it back out in the plane. Eventually, they ran out of saps. I mean, I know this is very remedial of what went down. They ran out of saps, and the whole fucking thing came crashing down. And then people who were qualified ended up in a house that they paid way more than what the fuck it was worth. And I even got caught up in that shit. On my house, when I went to go fix the fucking roof on my house, when I had water damage because they fucked up the fucking job and I didn't want to deal with it. I had insurance and I'm not going to go to court with this guy. Fuck it, right? When the check came to me, my insurance that I pay for, all the money I fucking pay for, when the check came, it was made out to me and the bank that owned my mortgage. And I had to sign it over to them so they could make sure that money was going to be used to fix the roof. Because what happened was they fucked so many people over and their house wasn't worth what they owed on it. When they actually had an insurance claim, they didn't fix it. They just kept the money. So they would have some money. And then when eventually they had to sell the fucking house, the bank would get the house back and then they had to fix the roof. And then they were upset about that, even though they created that situation. So I was so fucking mad when I called the bank. I was like, hey, I pay my bills. You want to look at my fucking credit report? I'm responsible with my money. You aren't. And there was nothing I could do. And I had to send it over to them. And with each portion of the job, I had to wait for one of those fucking banker cunts to come over and inspect the job to make sure that it was done, coming over like a fucking parent. So I think that's what ended up making that happen. And as far as this guy's money rant, I 100% agree with, if you're maxing out your credit cards and you're living week to week, you are setting yourself up. Okay? And you are a victim of your own foolish ways with money. And I'll forgive a younger person. But after you've learned the lesson to just continually be living week to week, once you're making a certain amount of money, you and your wife, there's no reason to be living like that. You bought too much house. You bought too much car. You bought too many fucking Apple shit. And this woman is 100% right about that. However, if you're below the poverty line, if you're dealing with racism, sexism, and homophobia and all that shit, like that becomes a different variable that you definitely have to look at. So I don't know. That's the way it is. Jesus Christ. I feel like I'm fucking hosting fucking Meet the Press right now. I'm an hour and 20 minutes in. That's how fucking guys, I don't want to talk about these giant fucking issues, all right? I have empathy for all you guys, including the fucking painters. I'm not trying to get into this shit. I'm supposed to make you forget about your problems, not sit here and talk about them. So anyway, and here's the thing, too. Just if you're making $1 zillion, you can still be that fucking idiot who then, if you're making $10 million a year, you can then be that idiot who lives a lifestyle that requires you to make $10 million. Like, I learned that in this fucking business. I watched them get, like, back in the day when it was, the brass ring was getting a fucking sitcom. I would watch these guys and women get these sitcoms. And in their first year, they'd buy the big house. They'd get the fucking fancy car and all of that shit. And then they weren't getting ratings and blah, 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 blah. And they do a half a season, or maybe they do like a season or two or whatever. They'd stop doing stand-up. And they would buy into this fantasy that they had made it, which they hadn't. They took a significant step towards it, but their ship hadn't come in. And I would watch them. The show would go off the air, And then you'd hear that they had to move out of their house, and they'd always keep the car because the car was what everybody saw. No one really saw the house. And then you'd see them try to hang on to the car, and then the car would be gone, and then they'd be up at the bar, and then they would be like super fucking depressed because mentally they allowed themselves to go to this place that they weren't at yet. They took the fucking ride, and it was terrifying. And when I first got into this business, I would open with guys. I'm not going to name names, but I opened for people that I remember had sitcoms before I fucking started in the business. And then like 3 years in, when I was in Boston, they'd come to town, they'd be back doing stand-up, and they were fucking broke. I was like Hannibal Lecter. I was looking at their shoes. Remember this one guy came in, everybody used to wear the white Reeboks, those aerobic ones. And I saw like the creases in it with the dirt in it. And I saw how he tried to scrub them clean. I'm like, this guy is fucking broke. Or this woman is fucking broke. And it scared the fucking shit out of me. And I remember I talked to a showrunner and with Patrice O'Neill. And we asked him and said, hey, when should you buy the car? And this was like doing math, showbiz math 20 years ago, and everything has fucking changed since then. And he said, I would wait till after season 3 and you get the season 4 pickup. And this was a super conservative guy who was a showrunner on 3 different shows and did not dress like it. And had a modest car and all of that shit. And I just gravitated towards people like, that's the guy, that's the guy, that's the guy. And if I learned anything like that, you always buy a car way underneath where you're at. You buy a house underneath where you're at. And that's the way to go about it. And you save up your fucking money because God forbid something fucking happens. You're fucked. Right? And that's why I drove a fucking Prius for 10 goddamn years getting gay bashed around Hollywood. And I fucking love that car. Every time I filled up the tank and it was like $28, $30, I fucking loved it. All right. So there you go. So there's some fucking advice. And I am not big leaguing anybody on this podcast. I'm just fucking joking around. So this, I think just because it was a pandemic, people had less of a sense of humor. I apologize. It was probably the wrong time to pick on a fucking vocation. I'm just fucking around here, people. All right. I am a fucking idiot who accidentally got into the business that I was in, and somehow it all worked out for me. I don't know shit. All right. There you go. All right, if you still have a fucking problem with me, then that's your issue, not mine. All right, Johnny Quest. Number 1, Bill, you mentioned in the last podcast, April 27th, that you liked the old school Johnny Quest. Definitely loved it, but I'm 32, so I only saw reruns. However, there is another newer animated show based on that ran on Adult Swim called Venture Brothers. Definitely check it out. Oh, when I was looking it up, I actually saw that. I never seen it. I saw that it existed, I should say. Definitely check it out, especially with all the free time. It's right up your alley. Favorite character is definitely Brock Sampson, and you'll see why immediately. All right. I love the name already. All right, number 2. Hey, Bill, you recently said on your podcast that you like watching Johnny Quest as a kid. I was wondering if you ever heard of this cartoon show called The Venture. This is another person, The Venture Brothers. It's not for kids and is a comedy. While you are at home for the quarantine, maybe check it out. The show is about what it would be like to grow up with a life like Johnny, but through characters named Rusty Venture. I would go into more detail about the show, but that this make the email longer. Whatever, dude. I'm in. I'm watching it. All right. Overrated, underrated. Overrated. Fucking slow piano music in commercials trying to empathize about the virus. I am so happy somebody else got annoyed with you. Like, as they're trying to sell me a car. We're here for you during these hard times. We'll bring the car right to your house. Oh, will you? Is that what you're going to do? Acting like you're going to give me a break in the price, like you're not going to roll into something out. He said, it reminds me of Patrice's bit about white women singing to save puppies. Yeah, as always, Patrice O'Neill ahead of his time. Underrated, reality TV, because it's so fake and off the wall that who fucking cares? No soap opera could come up with this virus shit. I'm sure they could. I mean, movies have done it. All right. Overrated. Just hiring a jerk off to fucking paint a room in your house. Underrated. Doing the job to actually find out who the best guy is or lady to do the job. There you go. All right. So all you painter cunts can quit yelling at me, and you'll have time to get some turpentine and comb the fucking speckles of paint out of your pubes. All right, go fuck yourselves, everybody. I'll check in on you on Thursday. I'm done with this shit. I'm gonna go back to talking about old time fucking football, about when players had day jobs during the off season, and when the Giants played in Yankee Stadium and Sam Huff shared a locker with Mickey Mantle. All right, I'd rather talk about that shit. All right, than fucking viruses and people, how much money that they make. See, this is where this shit goes. This is where this shit goes when you fucking sit there and talk about people's jobs and their money. And I started it, so it's my fault, all right? And cue the sad piano music, all right? Go fuck yourselves. I'll check in on you on Thursday.